Okay, okay. Neil Gaiman once said, "When life gets hard, make good art." However, it is nearly midnight here, and I lack the means and sobriety to make art. Yes, I'm looking at my Sigma Marines and Gundams that I could be building. And I thought about things that I really enjoy doing. I thought about things that I haven't had the chance to do a lot, and I realised I've only been doing like little YouTubian videos for people on Steam. I've been really, really lucky over like Ludo Naricon, Steam Next Fest, and before to do like little like snippet Let's Plays, but predominantly to help show off somebody's game, and that's heckin' cool. But why haven't I been doing them for myself? So to you, YouTubian VOD watcher, you Longshipian of time-travelling proportion, this is a special little video. I recently finished reading House of Leaves. Now, if you know House of Leaves, you probably know where I'm fucking going with this. But one of the things that's so tantalizing about that book is that the author has stated that there will never be an official adaptation. There will never be a movie, there will never be an HBO miniseries, right? And there's something about being told no that just gets the creative brain going, wee! And so, I don't know, since I finished that book, it's left me scrambling for things that fit that void. Now, I'm going to be playing pools. You've probably seen every other YouTuber and their brother playing it. And I can't promise that I'm going to be able to deliver anything interesting or different. But the actual playable equivalent of the Navidson report is something that my noggin craves. And I promise I won't drop anything too close to House of Leaves spoilers, only to tell you that even though it came out in the 2000s, that book is still very worth your time, and it is probably more applicable to storytelling in video games than it is to other mediums, right? It takes the medium and it twists it in service of the feeling that you get. House of Leaves is a book that thinks of the reader in the same way that we in video games think of the user, right? Now, it's not fucking genius, big brain, super talk to say that, hey, the Backrooms was probably directly inspired by House of Leaves and the concept of liminal spaces, except for the Backrooms was the concept of something that is familiar and becomes threatening. Which, what was House of Leaves about again? Oh, a house that is familiar and becomes threatening. Anyway, I'm not going to do like a deep dive comparison between the two, and honestly I don't know really what more I have to add that your favourite YouTubian individuals haven't possibly added to this, except to say that Pools is such a wonderfully short game, and I mean you can see here, boy, look at these small video clips that look like they came back from expeditions. And my brain just couldn't leave this alone. So, while it is late, and I am not doing good mentally, I realised that this is a perfect time to delve into something different, something weird. The kind of thing that wouldn't really fit into a stream, and might be less for having an audience, you know. I'm talking to you all now, but in the same way that I'm putting a message in a bottle. Also, if something fucking weird happens to me while I'm filming this, this is my audio log. This is my alien isolation moment. I just have to make sure that if anything spooky does happen, I have to tell you all the combination code to get into the security safe. But while I'm aware of Pools and I'm aware of its impact and its concept, I've not seen it. So if I seem like a complete fucking dingus playing this, I'm sorry. It does beg the question that at what point throughout this should I start talking about House of Leaves directly? Because here's the thing, we did a stream of myhouse.wad. You should be able to find the VOD of that in the doobly-doo. And one of the reasons why people were so enamored with myhouse.wad was that it is essentially, for all intents and purposes, House of Leaves, the video game. But what was fascinating about that one, and the reason why people drew the comparisons, was that House of Leaves was about... House of Leaves is a book, takes the medium of literature and twists it to mess with you. myhouse.wad takes the concept of mods, the concept of Doom, and twists it. You know, in the same way that House of Leaves twists the very nature of... not getting in there. The very nature of literature. So too did My House trick people into making the Doom engine do things it was never supposed to. God, you can tell I'm tired and drunk because I can't remember the name of the Doom engine. Now, since the proliferation and success of like the SCP Foundation, the concept of the backrooms, the concept of familiar but lethal has become more injected into, you know, I don't want to say the status quo, like the popular consciousness, right? You know, some of the stories with the SCP Foundation that hit me the hardest aren't the ones that reveal the most horrific monsters or the most horrific fates. They're the things that are so benign and yet become fucking terrifying, if only through, you know, exposure and starvation. 50p in a bag of chips, that's where we're supposed to be right now. Okay, it doesn't look like it reads anything either way. I was worried if I tilted my head 90 degrees it was going to be like that one bit from Full Metal Alchemist. Okay, see, and this is, I guess, one of the reasons why I want to play this. You know, these familiar, clean tiles giving us a safe space. We can reach a crossroads. One path, light. The other, darkness. Now, both as video gamers who have been taught to follow the light, like Valve literally teaches you follow the light, as people, delving into the darkness when the light exists is the worst idea that you could do. I just want to point out, like, no one else in the house is awake right now. It is just me. The dogs have gone to bed. All the peoples are asleep. So, like, I can't ask someone to just do this. Now, I think before the pools this game existed, there were some animations based around the concept of the backrooms involving SCP teams going into environments like this and, like, tube rafting down an inflatable for days on end. And I don't know. Again, it's one of the things I really enjoyed about the SCP Foundation writing and the concepts is that... Oh, fuck, I hate this. Is the idea that the mundane can kill you. We've walked into this space, right? But how long could we survive here? You can bet your last £5 that this water is not drinkable. It's probably so chlorine-ified as to assault the senses. And what are you going to eat? A fucking leg? The idea that if this is a haunted and twisted space, you could just die by existing here. Oh, that plastic chair is the first object that we've encountered. Let's poke it. Oh. Homie? We taking a weight off? I didn't make him sit down. Object of power? Object of bad idea. You decide! You know, some people when they're doing like let's plays or spooky games, they talk to kind of like entertain the audience. Um, I'm just doing this because of enthusiasm for House of Leaves and being fucking nervous. Okay. So that's how we came down. I guess it wants us to follow the light. It's worth stating that by giving us this weird little loop to start with, it kind of solidifies the idea, at least it doesn't solidify bugger all. It taunts us with the concept that this area is static. This is something that we can understand. Now obviously we know that's not the case. We know we're up shit fucking creek. But that's not the point. So I guess it has just given us a maze. The problem is none of this looks familiar. You want to talk about Theseus and the Minotaur? Because Zampato doesn't. Wherever you say it. Okay. This is a good time to tell you I have a fear of deep water. I know a bad idea when I see one. If you're nervous, I'm nervous. Okay. Let's just quickly retrace our steps a little. Okay, we're good. I'll tell you what, I'm going to natter for another like 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm just going to declare it open season on House of Leaves spoilers. Honestly, if you're interested in non-linear storytelling, if you're interested in telling stories in video games, I mean, nothing I can say is going to prepare you for the experience of reading it, but I am going to be talking about it freely and exhaustedly and mildly drunkenly. Well, that's a bad idea. Look, so far we tried eschewing the logic, right? We said we're not going to follow the light. So it... beans. Fuck. That was our ladder out, and the dude, he's taking it. Sorry, I'm laughing at myself because I'm already trying to equate this concept of the dude, right? I'm already trying to... I don't know if anthropomorphize is the right word. Personify this impossible environment that we're in. Fuck. Oh. I know you heard that. I heard that. I'm trying to personify it because if you personify it, you can understand it. The concept that there is a villain working against us means that there is a human mind. Something that thinks and plots and schemes. And people think and plot and scheme when they want things. The idea of something far older than that. Something far more terrifying. Fuck sticks. that's a graphical issue. Sorry, I shouldn't say graphical issue. I don't know if that's a stylistic choice or an engine thing. But when we look down, does it not seem like the darkness starts to reach up? Could be something that just comes forth from, I don't know if this is UE4 or UE5. I know both have really interesting inside to outside lighting concepts, but would you jump? Would you look over that edge and would you take a little hop? See? No, we've still got... we've still got 10 minutes before spoilers. Alright, I'm going to avoid going in there. I'm going to have a little trundle around. Alright? Because I want to talk about the role of the player. And I want to talk about how that could or might apply to like a House of Leaves philosophy. But I can't do that without spoilers. So, I'm going to see what the upstairs leads to us. Obviously, I'm optimistic that the stair go up means we get out. But... fuck. I decided to play this alone at midnight. With no backup. There's no stream. There's no audience. Alright, I've changed my mind. From here on in, tiny clap, I'm going to be talking openly about House of Leaves. Whether it ends up being spoilers or otherwise, I can't speak for it. But just consider this my last big, please read that book. Otherwise, buckle up, Buttercup, we're going to get in. So one of the things that was so horrifying about the house was the groaning and growling. Is there a minotaur that stalks your steps? Is there a beast and a creature? Is it the very reflection of our own understanding? Is there actually something trying to kill you in these waters? Or is it merely our world? Is there a minotaur in the maze? Or does the darkness and absence make its own minotaur? Or minotaur? Ah, fuck it, you say however you want. I'm too fucking unsettled to get into it. The rationality you apply to the situation in your mind. It could be the very walls, the very fabric of this world twisting back on itself. And when Zampato, or whatever his name was, the second author, crossed out everything involving ancient Greece and the iconography of the Minotaur and Minotaur, of this beast in the darkness. Ultimately, that is never answered. Now, this is where I wanted to talk about the concept of compulsion. I wanted to talk about House of Leaves and how it argues that a person's psyche is eventually twisted on themselves and what is happening right the fuck here. See, each person that goes into the house has their personality twisted back on them. You know, for one man, his pride, you know, his fighting spirit is eventually twisted back on him until he takes his own life. One individual uses humour and wit and whimsy combined with, you know, getting high as balls. But ultimately that is turned on him, and, you know, Navitum himself, he cannot look away from the exploration of the unknown. He cannot step out from behind the camera. He has to go there. He has to be there and see that, right? And again, that leads him to almost complete ruin. So here we have colour. This green diving board that stands before us. And what does it speak to you? What does this say? It says dive, because we have played video games. We know the language of games. We understand what we're being asked to do. But then that begs the question, is the compulsion coming from us, or is it being imposed on us? Is the designer making us do this, or do we choose it of our own free will? Which, if we engage with the text, if we become part of this game, it makes you ask, are we stepping out onto this board, or are the pools making us? Okay, you heard the VHS static there, right? In House of Leaves, one of the big proponents of it is that Navidson, being an avid photographer, put cameras everywhere. He gave cameras to everyone who set out on the expeditions. And while he himself went out on the early ones, he promised his wife he wouldn't go on any further ones. And we both know how that fucking goes. Or I should say we all. I have no idea how many of us are here in these pools right now. Let's just hang out with this fucking duck. Yo, duck, you want to hear about House of Leaves? And please don't think that I'm speaking from dissertation on this. I read House of Leaves 2-3 weeks ago. Blew me away, obviously. But the reason I mention it is because photography plays such a massive part of it, right? Ultimately, the house seeks to extinguish light. Oh, fucked up, haven't I? It seeks to extinguish light. It seeks to extinguish life. And the act of recording, the act of making notes and putting this together, I don't know. You could argue that it angers the house. You could argue that it's the reason why Navidson and co make it out. I don't know. But in this, the camera is playing a strong role. Also, now we're on a spiral staircase. If the spiral staircase starts getting janky as shit, I will piss. And yeah, sorry to... I guess I'll have to write a sorry in the description. Oh, beans, that's red. I was going to say, I'll have to write a sorry in the description. I wanted to go for longer in this before we started talking about House of Leaves. That may not be the case. The other thing that struck me is, I'm looking at our timer, right? Assuming I natted to you all for about 4 or 5 minutes before we got started. We've been in here for 20 minutes. And aside from a potential groaning, oh, why did I do this? We've heard nothing. Here I keep making fucking dumb decisions. One of the other things that I wanted to mention was essentially how the house... I want to call it the oldest house. It's not the oldest house. That's where the Bureau of... that's where the Bureau from Control and the house isn't necessarily good, but it's not against us. The house kind of feels like a homie. But my point being is that the house in House of Leaves is incredibly patient. Or perhaps it's better to say that, like with other SCPs of time, and admit it, I know House of Leaves and the house from that exists pre to the foundation of the SCP, but you know what I'm saying, so let me have this. I'm nervous talking. The idea that the concept of time in these spaces is also warped, but as you all well know, the idea with House of Leaves is to make you feel like you're in a haunted house when you read it. It fucking does that. And one of the ways I saw you did it. No, back it up. One of the ways it does that is obviously like, messing with your perception of space and time. But also, you're never entirely sure how... what's the term? Come on, homie. Help me out here. You pointing back? Oh, he fucking is. You never know how malicious or sadistic the house is. Is it actively seeking to scare and to harm? Is it feeding? Is it enjoying itself? Or is it merely naturally occurring? You could argue a cat plays with its food or its prey, not because it is sadistic, but because it is its nature. The rhyme and reason there starts to fall apart very quickly. I actually forgot my original point because of the spooks. Oh yes, that's what this is inferring, God, right, booze. Inferring's the wrong term. What I mean is that we've been in here for a fucking while. There's been some weird jiggery-pokery, there's been some weird twistings of physics, but predominantly it's stayed as we understood it, right? And I keep thinking of the arrogance of the early expeditions in House of Leaves, how they mapped the area, how they lay cables, and how they thought that they'd be the ones able to chart this impossible place, treating it not as a thing, but as an environment to be explored. And the house had other ideas. Now, did they aggravate it? Is it akin to a gigantic sea anemone that the people exploring the house activated something within it that caused it to react as it did? Or did it fucking toy with them? Did it wait long enough for them to get comfortable so it could really mess with them? Alright. We know where this dance goes. But once again, we have to ask ourselves, do we step off this diving board of our own accord? Or are we being pushed to it? Do we have anything resembling free will? Or are we merely being twisted by the pools? And that's chapter 1, baby! Thanks, I fucking hate it. Worst part is I fucking love it as well. It's hard to put my finger on why, right? Because I am afraid of deep water. I get very mentally invested in horror. One of the reasons why I've come to love survival horror so much, or perhaps you should say like traditional survival horror. Hell, even modern games that have both survival and horror elements combined, is because the power and the agency that you have, right? Like, Resident Evil 7 is scary, but until you know what's going on, I thought Gone Home was scarier. Right, like you finish Gone Home and you're like, oh, it was a journey of the mind. But holy fuck. Whereas with Resident Evil 7, you know, you're playing as the dumbest man alive. And it is horrifying. But, I don't know. There are very few Resident Evil games that keep me up at night, right? But the binaural audio in this is so good. I highly doubt the audio quality is going to be coming across on record. But oh god! Am I cosplaying as Navidson? Is that why I wanted to do this? Do I weirdly want to be the guy that goes into the house? Is that the seduction of this offer? God, I don't know why I'm getting so arty-farty with it. I have to keep drinking. But is that the seduction of this, right? If you say, Will, I need you to go into Raccoon City. It's been overrun with zombies. Here's a machine gun and a cool beret. Like, that is something we understand, you know? This... And again, I know loads of people have played through this. I understand that I am not the first person to set foot in these halls, but fuck me running if it doesn't feel like it is. Right? Is that the seductive nature of this? It really does feel like an impossible, unexplored place. That's why I'm doing this. With myhouse.wad, it was the mystery, right? Like, and if you're unfamiliar with myhouse.wad, I'm going to talk about it for a second so I can slow my progression roll and not pee myself live on YouTube. But myhouse.wad was posted by like a 14-year-old Doom forum aficionado account. And it was someone talking about how they made a mod to memorialize a friend who had passed. He remade the childhood home. And the more you play it, the weirder it gets. In fact, it gets so weird that it breaks the very concept of what Doom should be able to do. Multiple levels, twisted realities, like things that even the engine shouldn't be able to do, but it does. And the further you dig into this, the further you find like this person's notes and details and diaries and thoughts, and the darker and more twisted it becomes. And to truly unfurl everything that my house has to offer, you have to read the diaries this person hid. Oh, I shouldn't say hid, but put into this mod. You have to look at the pictures that they left. You'll fucking see that in there, right? It's not just me. Yeah, fuck you, I'm not going in there. Sorry. But with myhouse.wad, it is about unfurling a mystery and understanding it. What happened to the person who passed away? What happened to the person who made the mod? Why does it affect them so? And to what extent? And, sorry, as I was saying before, I saw some fucking floating evil in the darkness. Like, there are photos of these people as kids and all of these incredible details that if you want to truly finish myhouse.wad, you have to study them. Now, I won't go too far into details. You know, hopefully I've told you enough. You'll want to get SCP with it? Cue Will Smith just getting jiggy with it. Sorry, the reason I asked that is because right now we are faced with a choice. Triangle or circle. and I'm sure, much like myself, you understand the significance of, like, we're being asked to make a choice with no information. Now, you'll notice I've eschewed both, right? Like, I'm not saying I reject, but I think the pools will punish me for this, or at the very least force me to make the choice again. There's the red fucking slide. There's the circle, and there's the triangle. Okay, so this is a different slide altogether, some strange, horrifying higgledy-piggledy. But sorry, the reason why I reference it is because, like, right now it's asking us to choose between two things with no understanding. Now, again, is this a level of sadism put forward by the pools, or is this merely the rules of the land? And we don't know. I mean, you might have already played through this, you might have already seen this, but I just want you to earmark my thoughts on this one, that, like, right now, two things could be true. The pools are a place, and the place has rules. The circle means good, the triangle means bad, or vice versa, or perhaps a forms of communication. Or the pools are fucking with us. These symbols on the walls are merely meant to confuse, are merely meant to entice, right? Are meant to think that there are logical steps and progressions, that this is a place that can be solved or understood if only we pay attention, if only we use logic. And this comes back to the House of Leaves, the ways that people become trapped, their strengths turned against them. Now, I got a pretty good... Oh, cool, lockers. Let's see if anybody's left their pants in there. I have a very high media literacy, right? I have a very, very good understanding of game development and how things get made and what they are. Oh, that's fucked up. Let's check out the lockers. But that also means that that kind of curious want to understand, you know, the idea that if I only pay enough attention, I can understand this art. If I'm only paying enough attention, I'll know what the creators were trying to make of this. And imagine that mindset being pit against something like the house. Again, I keep wanting to call it the oldest house, and it's not. Right? Like, if we believe the theory of it being malevolent, of being sadistic and twisted, like how it might use that to warp it. But again, as you know, as you well know, because you've read House of Leaves as well, if it chooses, it could just be an ambient effect. Now, I'm doing dumb stuff here. I got an achievement that said Whisper in the Dark. Did you hear that? Yes, and I never want to hear that again. Okay. But again, if we go back to House of Leaves, we think about the house as being this, like, freak of nature. This, like, absolutely natural occurring phenomenon that does have rules. And that the idea that the melancholy and madness that takes place is just the human mind in a place it's never fucking supposed to be. Right? Well, now we've got two theories, and both of them are bad. Now, I've not played enough of this to understand who we are in terms of our agency, and hell, this game might be one of the best examples of you don't have to come up with a protagonist. Also, fuck off, I'm not that good. Like, you don't have to tell the player who they are. Because in times like this, that puts forward, frankly, something a little bit more unsettling. Who are we? We are us, and we are no one else. This is me in an infinite pool forever looping. I also don't think you'd need to add anything like thirst and hunger and survival mechanics for this, right? You already have to push on in the face of very, very bad ideas. The twisting maze-like elements of this leading us to understand we may have tread back over our own steps. I think... Okay, so we followed the circle path, so I guess we'll follow the fucking triangle. Logic, let's go. Yeah, no, I'm not going down Drowdy Lane. This is going to be one of those little videos where I make like 50% of a point and then freak out. Never finish it. Anyway. Oh yes, I don't think this needs hunger and thirst mechanics because we're already pushing forward against fear, right? The severity of the implications of where we are is pretty well stated by how fucking creepy it is. You know, this doesn't need a thirstometer. Oh, and I was saying how we don't need to know who we are in this space because that means that we are us. I mean, if I had to metagame this, I'd say that we're not playing this game, but we are watching the footage of the poor buggers who were sent into this place, right? That each of the different videotapes is one of the video expeditions as they came through, right? God, if those were eggs. But the lack of any kind of... what's the term? No. No. Oh, I hate that. I was going to say the lack of any kind of pre-assigned destiny means that we will ultimately put ourselves in a situation which is way more scary. There's also another element which needs to be taken into consideration, which is I want this to be more, in a fucked up way, I want this to be more, right? As I've already had the realization is that I'm not playing this as Will, I'm playing this as fucking Navidson cosplay. Like, why else would I be recording this right now and not just playing it? Why am I documenting my thoughts and my feelings and my process through this if I wasn't trying in some way to cosplay a character that, at least on a small level, I've been impressed by? And look, for those of you that have really, really read House of Leaves, I know where I stand. I'm gonna slide, it's a dumb idea. I've gotta stop doing this. I've gotta stop doing that. That's gonna bite me on the ass soon. Interesting thing though is if you check, anytime we're in the pools and we're dripping, that stays. So earlier when we were in the triangle and circle rooms, I was actually able to see which way we had gone from the drips, but jumping back. I think sometimes coming at games and wanting them to be something is fine. You know, sometimes if you can preload your preconceptions, you might be able to find something in there that you wouldn't have otherwise spotted. Look, I know the light is not the way to go. I know it's going to turn me around and be like, I bet you thought you were safe. Well, let me enjoy this for a second. Huh. Oh, and also as a quick FYI, we have no jump button. So like our character doesn't even think to leap in. But there does seem like a stairway up. House of Leaves! That can't be my battle cry. Oh, okay. Wait, is that floating? Ah, damn it. I restored a layer of scattered art in one piece. Ah, I'm gonna be going down a feckin' YouTube wiki hole after this, aren't I? Okay. We just finished exploring the triangle area, which means the eyes have it. I'm sorry, friends. My original point, I think, was about, like, because I am not playing as a character, I'm myself, and therefore bringing in all my House of Leaves baggage. That's probably why I'm taking this so carefully, and why I'm wound tighter than 18 snakes in a bag. But here we are. Here we feckin' are. There's the distinct possibility, just my brain was just dancing on the snake's theory. The coloured pipes might be more than just that, you know. Okay, so let's take stock of what we know. Let's put ourselves in this mindset. So this is like an infinitely repeating, sometimes changing maze based on an infinite number of pools, right? The tiles, the chlorine water, everything. So what stands out? So far we've had one area that's been designated lockers, but doesn't really seem to do or function anything. Like whatever this place is copied the idea of lockers, but with no reason. However, the slides are both functional and color-coded, right? These little, like, teal to green, like, colored edging things don't seem to have much rhyme or reason, but the pipes do. They are going and they are coming. Sometimes we have a little slide in them. I've got to stop doing that because it's going to get me killed. Other times, they simply are. And we've seen them intercoiled, so they're the closest we've got to something that could be considered organic, right? The chairs are sometimes there, but again, we're in the fucking lockers! I don't suppose there's a ham sandwich in any of these, is there? Nope. Okay. Eat that. And if I remember rightly, this takes us down towards the dark, impossible whispers. Oh no. That's the dark, impossible whispers. Fuck knows what this is. Let's go find out. But we know not all of the architecture down here makes sense, right? Like, that barrier does not make sense. That was not designed, or at least to say that was not designed with a person in mind. So whatever is here only understands pools in the term of their, like, function. It's emulated. But again, this could also be something that's being used to hamper us. There's the tiny... Okay. Now, if we want to put our video game hats on for just a second, and slightly disengage from the fear, here's the other thing. You notice that this game is content to just let us navigate the maze, right? It is something that... Oh, I didn't look at this. Oh. I think I hate that more. was going to say, it's something that the Naviton Report does so well, even though it's a piece of literature describing a film which may or may not have ever happened. But the idea that so many of the expeditions, it was just nothing. They mapped out spaces, they rode for days. I'm sorry, they didn't ride until later, you know what I mean. But ultimately, the nothing that happened gave them this sense of confidence that they never should have had, right? Oh, I did not like this. Shit. It's just the teeny tiny corridor we saw earlier. Sorry. You can tell it's getting to me. But no, the idea that through the first few expeditions, as spooky and scary as it must have been, like, the expedition team started to feel confident. They felt like they understood the house. They didn't understand shit from shit. And boy, howdy, if this doesn't feel like that. Honestly, friends, at this pace, even though this is supposed to be like a 1.5 hour game, I don't think I'm getting through this tonight. I don't know if I want to get through this tonight. I might fucking wait for you all and stream this later in the week. That's a swing. Sup, swing. This strange green room. The sounds just get worse. Okay, I don't like that. That was just like a mirror sheen. One thing that's not coming across, though, that I just want to highlight very quickly before I get freaked the fuck out, is that while I am using mouse and keyboard for this, I'm trying to keep it as steady as I can, you can really feel the weight. You know, my SCP theory predominantly comes from the idea that it feels like we're wearing a hazmat suit or something equivalent. You know, we're wearing like a camera or, you know, some kind of like high def setup, but sorry, we're not viewing the person's eyes, we're viewing the footage they brought back, but it absolutely feels like we're wearing a suit. Like, our body is weighty and heavy even when we're out of the water. Sup, duck. Did I ever tell you all about the rubber duck game design philosophy? If you're nope. Nope, 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 nope. Where's the duck? Nope, 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 nope. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, cool. So, welcome to Pools. We're actually going to be changing this video from an exploration of horror and its relation to the House of Leaves to a cooking show. I'm going to set up a little tiny barbecue here. I'm going to make you all burgers, maybe some hot dogs, obviously vegetarian and vegan options. Maybe we'll do a little field roast, and we'll never step foot in this fucking pool ever again. How's that sound? Does that sound good? Fuck me. We've got to go say hi to the duck. As is our want in life. It's amazing how this game can erase what it was I was saying beforehand. Oh yes, that you can just... You feel heavy and sluggish in this. And it's a really good way purely through, like, you know, movement control to make you feel like you're in space. What's up, duck? Little quacky buddy. Rubber ducky. You're the one. I bet no one else has made that joke. Interesting. Something tells me that that is something stupidly significant, and we're just not versed in the space to know it. Or maybe it's totally fine, and I just want it to mean something. Again, like anybody exploring this place, I've clearly brought my own preconceptions in. Ooh. Friends, or whoever is watching at this point, could be some villainous entities or rubber ducks. But right now, I think right now more than any other time in this, I regret not being on stream. Because I could just stop. I could ask you a question. I could go, hey, how's your day going? What's up? Shout out to whatever terrible bits or sub name just happened. But I wanted to come in here alone. I could have had all the backup in the world. Even if the entirety of the Longship was sick of this, I know at least like 3 or 4 of you would watch along while I delved into this. I'm literally cosplaying Navidson. There's no reason for me to push on alone. And I'm doing it. I'm not gonna do it sober. I will say Navidson's brother, I believe it was Tom, is obviously the character I relate to because I use humour as a coping mechanism. I make jokes, I sing, but I also use substances as a coping mechanism. I drink a lot. Huh. Jazz! Fuck. I drink a lot. And one of the things that I felt was so powerful in House of Leaves is that they don't do the horror movie trope, which is the guy that gets high always gets, you know, deaded, or that, you know, the silly teenagers getting drunk and ooh. No, they drag it out. So Tom realizes that his crutch, his coping mechanisms, humor and weed, are both running out. And again, is it the natural state of the house to try and erode all that go in it? You know, we clearly read about the whole thing of like glow sticks being left, and they come back and they look like they've been decaying for 10 years. Or is it a level of malicious twisting, right? Does it drag out the proceedings long enough for Tom to have to face all this without his tools in the cold sobriety of pitch darkness? I mean, I don't know what I believe. I think I need to discuss House of Leaves with more people. But I also think about the fact that Navidson himself, going back in alone, is prepared, he is stocked up, and the house takes a lot of that from him. Like his preparedness, like his... I'm going to take a seat here. At least here I can, like, see the door. Look at this good old marble ass. Oh, booty. But know how Navidson goes in so prepared, and the house doesn't kill him. Maybe it tries, maybe it doesn't, but it makes sure that all of his crutches are gone. And ultimately it whittles away at the one thing that we know he knows, the one thing that he is revered for, skilled for. It's photography, it's vision, it's sight. It makes him ration sight until the very last moment. until there is no fire, there is no light, there is nothing to illuminate the darkness, and he must be left without the thing that he has become not only reliant on, but adept on and skilled in, right? I think with a lot of these things, we like to think the best of ourselves. You know, if we encountered these SCP environments, you know, I think that we would ultimately try and believe in the best of ourselves. We all vaguely know what our coping mechanisms are, vaguely aware of like how we might fare, but trying to understand how those might yet be turned against us, it's pretty fucking scary. So I don't want to go in there, so I'm not going to do that. Remember how I said earlier about how going down these slides was going to be fucking killed? So I'm not going to do that. Tonight, I'm actually going to learn from my mistakes. You are welcome to mark your calendars. Will's not being a dingus. But I don't know. I don't know if the game is having me lay my soul bare, or if just because it's coming up on 1 o'clock in the morning and I want to talk about House of Leaves. You know, I am... At least I would like to say I'm very well versed in video game horror, right? And do you know what's fascinating about this? Is at least right now, so no matter how much I try and engage with the construction, not the art, I can't do it. Like, I wanna just be like, oh well, this is just some very clever mapping techniques to create the illusion of Euclidean in geometry and some nonsense. And yes, I know Euclidean geometry is just a wanky buzzword that, what was his name, old racist Lovecraft came up with. But it is a really, really good shorthand for... It's a really good shorthand for talking about, like, environments that twist and loop and flipsy-daisy in manners that are impossible, you know. The hotel from The Shining, for example. Oh, no. I don't want to do that. Friends, if the whole household wasn't fucking asleep right now, I'd be screaming. Fuck you, game. Oh, okay, that was the end of chapter 2. We're an hour in, that's the end of chapter 2. There are 6 chapters. I've been making so many points in such quick succession, I don't really know what to say or do right now. Only to highlight what I was trying to say earlier, which is I can't seem to engage in this as a piece of software. Like, you know, sometimes when you're playing a game and you can just kind of like step out of yourself and be like, oh, well, this is fine. This is just a piece of software. People made this. This is a sound stage constructed. This is a theme park ride made by programmers. But for whatever reason, I can't seem to do that right now. I don't know. We've often talked in the past, I've talked in the past, and if I've talked about it with you, then I am very glad, because I think it's a fascinating conversation. But I've talked a lot about how video games as an art form are more akin to cooking than cinema, right? And I know that's a weird thing to say because, you know, if we're talking about narrative structure, if we're talking about, like, framing and shot, I mean, surely cinema's the place to learn from. But the reason I always say cooking is because, like, one, you can't know how it's going to turn out until it's done. You can make great judges, so you can make great guesses, but ultimately... Sorry, I'm not going down that. That's claustrophobia C, in a way. But ultimately, you can't know how it's going to come out, and taste plays a great part in it. But the other element that we don't really discuss is setting yourself up for success in video games. By which I mean, like, there are certain albums and pieces of cinema that if someone's like, we should consume legal substances and experience this, you'd be like, yes, that makes sense. This is a piece of art that was designed to be observed and to be absorbed whilst under the influence of legal substances. Please check your local regions to find out which is legal and illegal. I'm in Seattle, Washington, so I can get baked out of my skull. That's not the point. But when it comes to video games, we're actually really bad about like saying like, hey, like maybe get in the right mood. We've sometimes been good about it when it comes to horror. You know, there was a huge discussion back when Doom 3 came out about whether or not Doom 3 was a pile of pee-pee poo-poo caca. And what a lot of people would say is, I bet there's some fucking colour theory here. So we've got orange and yellow here, and blue and green here. Collaborative colours, complementary colours, if you will. Sorry, that exasperated sigh was me. I can hear artist friends being like, these colours together and separate means all these things, and Will, you're clearly in danger. But yeah, so like during the early days, there was a lot of discussion about Doom 3. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it scary? And, you know, a lot of people disliked what Doom 3 did initially. And then there was a contingent of people being like, look, if you sit in the dark with your headphones on, the lights off, you get an experience, and that experience is more akin to those early levels of Doom. It's like, okay. But for the most part, and, oh man, sauna time. Oh, fuck, I might go get some more booze very quickly. Let's enjoy sauna time. Sauna time with Will. It's a new segment where I don't take my clothes off. But anyway, aside from horror, sometimes we're actually really bad about getting people in the right mindset to play games. And I think sometimes that is why people ricochet off. I do think that this is on people like myself in the games industry and not on individuals, because we've spent so many years of pushing people to play it day one. Jump on it day one. You don't want spoilers. Day one, that's when you got to play it. Get to it. Hop to it. Day one. Day one purchase. Free day one DLC. And sometimes that's not actually the best way to go about it. And we absolutely positively have never discussed the idea of genuinely saying like, hey, maybe if you consume legal substances and then experience a title, that might be good, you know? But anyway, jumping back, I think rather than thinking about it from a substance point of view, but from the idea of being hungry, what are you hungry for? You know, wanting to be involved, what do you want to be involved in? You know, sometimes the thematics is far, far more important than the experiential, you know, for bringing people in. And that might be more true for new users than for, you know, old hands like us. And again, if you are actually a brand new green bean, then congratulations. Thank you for finding my corner of the internet. And I'm sorry. Fucking toilet. Look, I don't want to be gross, but it's called pools. And my character is clearly wearing a hazmat suit, so the only thing pooling is my fear. That's another story. Anyway, just jumping back. The reason why I'm bringing up this, the food analogy now is like, you know, we've often used this whole concept of flavor to taste when discussing video games, predominantly when discussing mods, accessibility, etc. But also like with what you bring to the table, right? Years ago, someone who I was attempting to date invited me out, and I presumed that they had something very specific in mind, and so I lined my stomach ahead of time. I did my stretches, and when I met up with them, they informed me that actually it was their birthday, and oh boy did I feel guilty. But also that they wanted to go to a Japanese restaurant. And here's the thing: I'm already full. I love Japanese food. You know, the way of the weeb is strong with me. Sorry, I shouldn't phrase it like that. Japanese food's fucking brilliant, and this is clearly a trap. But I am gonna have to choose between red and green. But the point being is that I was taken to a place that I would have otherwise loved, adored, but I'd already filled up. You know, I couldn't do a huge meal with like. I think it was like a. I think the favorite dish was like one of the rice variants. It's like I can't face that right now. I thought we were going to be burning the calories sooner, not later. Anyway, suffice it to say, despite being confronted with something that I would have otherwise loved, I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't stomach it. And with video games, I think it's okay to have that. You know, we often discuss this idea of like, oh, I tried this thing, but I bounced off it. Like, that's fine. But I think a lot of this time when discussing like ricocheting off a game, it feels like a failing, right? It feels like I should love this, but I don't. And it's fine. Like, you're already full up. You're already mentally at your capacity. I've been discussing this with a lot of friends recently, and it's like, if playing video games with people, predominantly on stream, wasn't my living, I wonder how many of these games I would get into, how many of these games I would share. Because you're asking for a lot of heavy mental lifting, right? Okay. So I promise this isn't a bit. I'm just going to go refill my my sake cup very quickly. That's how you know this isn't edited. If anything freaky happens, well, shit, it'll be at least a day in the future before you see this, so you can't even warn me. You can't even warn me. Well, this is good. This is good. We're not dead. And here's the thing. This could be some serious horror movie shit where maybe a whole bunch of nasty stuff happened. I won't even know until I review the footage. The House of Leaves cosplay fucking continues. Oh, and if you heard the guinea pigs in the background, they heard me go into the fridge, and they've worked out what I like to call night salad, where basically if they bully me at this hour, they know they'll get salad because I'm trying to keep them from waking up the household. Anyway. God, I can't see a damn thing. If you'll notice how it's using light against us, color is a tool, a guide, a trick or a threat. We don't know yet. But the light is actively working against us. Like down there, that whole area was really well lit. Only beans. Spill my sake in there. Cry. Okay. Secret third toilet. Hate that. Shut that door. Shut that door. It's gonna get me, I know it. You wankers. Didn't get me. Sorry. This game's ability to make me afraid is very, very good. Oh yes, the downstairs. So that area down there was very, very well lit, right? And in video games, we're taught, follow the light. Dark is bad, light is good. Well lit areas means you're progressing, and that your character has agency through conflict. But down there, that was polished, dark tiles with bright lights, essentially making us like deer in the headlights with each turn. I really don't want to do this, but I'm just gonna do it. Oh. Huh. The other thing I will say, friends, is while I'm recording this at 30 FPS, I'm playing it at 60, and it is... I actually would prefer it if it wasn't so smooth. Not that I think it's bad, but it would at least give it a level of surrealism that I could really appreciate right now. Hey, so I really hate that. That looks like a face. I'm not going that way. Sorry, once again, it's doing the thing it did earlier with the circles and triangles, forcing us to make a choice, giving us either the illusion that there is something akin to structure, or reminding us that there are rules to this place, we just don't fucking know them. I saw something there. Saunas are supposed to be wholesome and relaxing. That was neither of those things. And again, look how well lit this area is. I mean, it feels like we're in the absolute nightmare. Oh, fuck me! The Overguard report, Expedition 3. The mannequins are weird and touchy. I'm going to crop dust them as I go by, and I'm going to hope, among hopes, that gives me some kind of agency. Fuckers touch me. Going to cry. Not even like cool crying either, it's going to be like ugly sobbing. Even as ghosts, you're going to feel awkward. The toilets feel like a threat now, I'm not going to lie. I'm even threatening to poop myself. 3 toilets in a row that basically says, shit your pants, coward, bet you won't. What the fuck? What the fuck? How many of you played the original Prey? Because look at it. Look how the very water itself curves. Up until this point, the architecture has all been the emulation of a private pool somewhere. Like, it's been understandable, and it's been occasionally Euclidean, but never wrong like this. Once we step through this, wherever we thought we were in this maze, wherever we felt we might have been, all bets are off. Were we going up before and we're now leveling out? Does this mean we're going to be walking straight up towards? The very things we felt we understood no longer apply. So come with me now on a journey through time and space to the world of the mighty Boosh. The mighty Boosh. I'm not doing a bit, friends. This would literally be my coping mechanism in this situation. The mighty Boosh. I had a thought whilst we've been going through this, and it's kind of similar to my feelings on, like, again, the SVP Foundation and things like that, that if you've been in gaming for a long time, or hell, if you've grown up with mass internet, like, you're used to the idea of some school, no. Alright, we live here now. No, I am talking to you lot before I jump in this fucking hole. Because what has these last 2 moments shown us is that everything we feel we've understood about the movement in this environment, the one thing that we have agency over is our movement, right? The one thing that we can do. We can walk and we can run wherever we want. And moving follows a very specific set of rules that just fucking broke. I remember what I was talking about before. Oh, the idea that if you've grown up in the age of like mass internet, you've encountered spooky stuff. You've encountered creepypasta, Slenderman, horrifying face monster, what have you, right? Like, by the time you reach your 20s, you're probably pretty inoculated to just jumpy gore monster horror, right? Like, we're trained how to handle that. But again, this is the absolutely banal, this is the absolutely mundane twisted back on us. Hell, at least in House of Leaves, the whole thing was this dark, twisting labyrinth that at first seems to be a new land to be explored, a new frontier, and turns out to be a possibly malevolent, definitely reactionary, organic thing. And it is not your friend. This... God. This is like going to the supermarket, or, you know, in the US, like, you know, Freddy's or Target, what have you. You go in, you nip to the bathroom, and as you try and come out, the very corridor that you're in just extends and extends and extends. What you come out into after that is simultaneously a place that you have stepped foot in every week for the last several years, but it is also a twisted concept of a nightmare, you know? Man, Omega Mart's gonna be fun if I ever go. Parkour. Oh, I landed bad. Wait. You heard those footsteps, right? Fuck me, running. Are we the only person on this expedition? Are there other... Fuck you, Escher. Fuck you. But also, okay, let's throw some whimsy in here so that I don't end up having some kind of coronary from fear. There are 2 things I want to do with this. One of them is one of those super bouncy balls. The other is a slinky, but then we need to find the top of it, and I think that's half of the problem. Now, there are some really interesting games on Steam that are like twists on the explore the backrooms concept. There's quite a few of them that have multiplayer. There's even the horrifying skibbity backrooms. Not horrifying for the reasons that you hope, but definitely for what's going on. Okay, look. This should be fucking funny, right? Like, this should be some Stanley Parable type joke. You know, you're pooping in the one stall available, and suddenly the walls fall away and you're being heckled by a single person. Ha 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 ha! Wouldn't that be hilarious? Next time you're pooping, you have an audience. But what I've noticed with the mannequins is that they are not threatening. At least not yet. They seem to be a reflection, and if you take into consideration the footsteps that we heard before, unless that's us, and it's not just space that warps but time, this is the reflection. Either this is what will happen or has happened. One gives up, one yells on. Only one is aware of the other. Or it's somebody getting heckled while they got the shits. This is something that the house never did actively. The house never tried to describe itself. It never tried to explain itself. The mannequins in this place reflect people. So if I was charitable to myself, I would say that these mannequins are trying to convey to us this space, its attempt to understand us, its attempt to understand people. But that implies that we are not the first ones who came through here. And that's not good. And if we're not the first ones to come through here, then why are we here at all? Then we get ourselves into SCP territory. Notice we're back to the dark tiles and low lights. Like, it wants us to progress, but it is not being friendly about it. Part is, I think it desperately wants us to sit in this chair. And there's one thing I've been thinking about a lot whilst playing Elden Ring, the concept of understanding tropes that make you do dumb things, right? In Elden Ring and any Soulsian game, you know that Patches is going to betray you. You know he's a piece of shit. But what happens is so drastically different in each game that you can never truly know. The smartest thing you could do when you meet Patches is just slash his neck open. But you don't, because you're curious. Because you know, if you play along, something cool's gonna happen. I shouldn't be sitting in this chair. Right? We've already seen this. The mannequins in their despair were those people that came before, who eventually gave up and sat down and are forever trapped in a moment in time or otherwise. You know, we understand horror tropes in video games. Eventually these respites, one of them is going to be horrific. But you can't leave it alone. And that's what I was talking about with the diving board earlier. There is no incentive. I guess there was an achievement, but we didn't check the achievement list before we started, and that's not why we're here, right? but just by its bright coloured placement in an otherwise stark white dark world. You know, this game hasn't scared us with a toilet yet, and yet I feel the need to check them. And the saunas earlier, which were spoopy but comforting. Here it has us navigate by sound. Again, I don't know if the binaural audio is coming across well on video, so I feel like I'm a war correspondent just trying to explain what is happening here, and what is carrying me through. Which again, Navidson cosplay, let's go. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm going to have a little bit of drink before we continue. But look at that. I just take a moment, because it reminds me of the cover from Squirrel Stapler. That isn't inviting, that is a fucking threat, right? The light, the placement, the eyes, the top, like, that is a threat. But it is so brightly lit. If we look back into the sauna maze, like, soft wood, some rumbly noises. This is so stark and brightly lit, and yet this absolutely feels like I'm making the dumbest choice. If this was a soft indie walking game, we'd be in a fucking beautiful cacophony of good times here. But we're not. Sorry, I spun around there, and there was nothing. The lights had all disappeared. Once we stepped into the darkness, I was like, alright, well, this is obviously a dumb move that I've made. Let's head back up into the light, right? Have you all noticed how early on we heard a roar? We haven't heard a roar since, but we have seen this distortion. I don't know. If I'm just putting myself in the space, do you know what it feels like? Again, like that element from House of Leaves, the twisting and making of the house may itself be the thing causing the roar. But the idea that there's this sentient darkness ready to swallow and devour, that could also be it. In this, the blooms that we've seen like this, it feels like the place remaking itself. The booms don't feel threatening, that roar fucking did. Before you ask, yes, I am rushing towards the warm light. Don't judge me. Alright. I know I'm the one that's been talking about how it's been betraying us with the, you know, follow the light mechanics. Fuck it. Oh, you... What fucking Geiger fuck mouth is that? Or Giga. Dyslexic kid. Grew up very sheltered. My pronunciations are bad and weird. I try and get them on point. Sometimes I'm a little stressed. There is a gaggle of purple flamingos over there. All right. What's up, nerds? Let's just hang out here for a second. You know what? I'm going to sip my drink. I'm going to hang out here for a second. And also, at this point, like, if you're still kicking and watching along, hello! I hope this has been at least vaguely entertaining. Usually when I'm doing streams, I like to leave a little, like, message for the VOD watchers. But I think at this point, it's like, I kind of just want to say hi? You know, at this point, if you're still watching, you've either read House of Leaves or you just wanted to hear my thoughts and feels on it. So I don't want to ask, what do you think of the book? So I don't know. To those of you watching, what is a game where you absolutely cannot disengage from the thematics? So, what is a game where you cannot just see it as a piece of software, where whenever you play it, you will always, if you'll forgive the useless, terrible term, but if you're always immersed, right? Like in this, I can't see it as a video game. I'm trying. Like, I understand the techniques being used against me, and yet my brain will not engage with this in anything other than a world we're currently stuck in. What is a game that hits similar for you? And it doesn't have to be horror, but like something where whenever you engage with it, it's only with thematics, it's only with the world as it's shown to you. Because I always think that's lovely. Okay, and games do not have to be that. Immersion is not win, right? It is not the perfect form of a video game with no downside. No, mechanics slap. I played Thrones. Was it Thrones earlier today? The medieval, they are billions, minimalist. I think someone called it like 3D Reigns. It's very, very good. I'm actually kind of proud of myself for starting it and actually having the physical restraint to stop it before we got too far in. Sorry, that god darn it was the fact that it's presenting me with a stairway that leads up, right? And what is the other rule of video games? Up is good, down is bad. Follow the light, and up is good, down is bad. Now, this would be by no means the first game that has weaponized that concept against a user, right? I'd be a stupid idiot if I said that. However, right now, I'm not doing... Really? No. Carriage not grabbing it, which means there is a compulsion holding him here. This shiny ladder to nowhere, and our character absolutely will not leave it alone. Oh good, it has a hold on us. As if to say that we're so far in the paint now, that even if it gave us a way out, we wouldn't take it. Is it a fucking door? Excuse me, pink flamingo. Purple flamingo, my apologies. Who wants to make a bad choice with me? story. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. It is a slide, which this game has kind of been conditioning us is to pass forward into a lot of the new sections, the new areas, right? But again, everything about this world is just reinforcing the mad obsession that would drive someone to delve further and further into what is essentially their own Euclidean doom. There is no food. There is no up, there is no down. There is no side to side. The Green Brothers warned us against this, and yet still we persist. Fuck you, slide. Are we good? We might be good. It's interesting that our person wouldn't grasp the previous ladder. This is also the first time that the maze has given us doors, right? Whether or not the doors function, or whether our person no longer wishes to see if they function, is another question. I notice the twin staircase is getting brighter as we move on up. This feels like sadistic hope. No, I'm going up. The idea that whoever we are, even if it is in fact us, we've been trapped in this place for, oh Jesus, like an hour and a half. And throughout it, we've been haunted and twisted and confused. But it's okay, because it's getting brighter, and we're going up. And up is good. Fuck me running. But again, this whole... oh shit, the bed. It's every time the darkness reaches up. Every time the darkness reaches up, it is a reminder that this place is not safe, and it lives. I apologise, whatever thought I had like before we walked out there is gone. Oh, okay. So I guess the question now is, what is that? It seemed to be like a live twisting, a live changing of the maze. Is the maze reacting to us, or is it waiting for us? God, fucking damn it. Perhaps we could have stayed in the ever-increasing land of Up and lived quite contently and quite peacefully. You see the same thing I see, right? The tubes that were once kind of like the organic and almost whimsical elements of this place are now black, dark, stark, and again the Geiger-esque, Giger-esque fucking body horror of it. Like, this is the point where we must consider the two possibilities again. Either the maze is a naturally occurring phenomenon and this is a reaction to us, or the bit that scares me, the maze is alive, the pools are alive, and that is a statement. Is it a threat or a warning? I'm gonna fucking find out. There's something about the fact that it's giving us doors now. Like it's almost dangling the concept of escape in front of us. Knowing full well that even if the doors are locked, I will never take it. I can't do it. But here's the thing, friends. This might be the last moment of respite that we have. Whatever that marble statue, Dark Souls 1? Yeah, Dark Souls 1 style monster ahead of us. This might be the last moment of calm. And if so, what is it saying? This would be... Oh, god damn it. This game knows what it's fucking doing. Okay, sorry. I went a little internal there. I was trying to work out if they were fighting or becoming intimate. If they were doing battle or if they were working together. Because we have these people on top who seem to be, you know, collaborating. But the others beneath seem almost combative. But you take a few steps back and you get it. They're trying to stop us going into the hole. Where earlier we could have seen their despair, where they could have been actively trying to stop us from progressing, or trying to express their sorrow that we were being consumed further into the maze, further into the pools. Now they have failed. We take another step in. Alright. We're at chapter 4 at this point. Suffice it to say there are 2 more chapters. Huh. Bricks. Sorry. Everything else in this place has been an emulation of the finished product, right? Like an alien observing a private pool and going, oh, well, I think I understand how it goes. We'll make everything like that. But I don't know. Something about the bricks that's very... wrong. Is that... Do you know what I'm saying? The doors even fit with the emulation of, like, human architecture observed from someone who is not human. But the bricks? I don't know. Seems weird and slapdash. Seems wrong. Sorry, not wrong in the way that, you know, it's spoopy. It's all fucking spoopy. I'm unsettled. I'm talking at you all because I'm unsettled. Love this for us. Ah, this is where we were earlier. Could this be the first sign of, like, legit malevolence? Are we in shit? Are we in shit? I think we're in the shit. The clock. The seat. That's something we encountered a few hours back. The wall. The wall now shows intent. A pile of bricks is kind of like someone emulating flesh, having seen only the outside of an animal. This is like you made a fucking mansion out of a skinned person. I could be playing fucking Balatro right now. I could be making number go up with fun, funky little fucking jesters. But no. I had to play a game that is very, very heavily inspired by a book that I just finished, and I thought I would be so smart. And again, right now, we still don't know if we're dealing with something malevolent or organic, or both, right? Because you could also argue that, you know, if something beyond human comprehension tried to emulate... tried to emulate something that humans do, a place where humans are, and they just happened upon a pool, you'd be like, alright, well, it's not mean. And yes, pools, like a lot of things, are also made of brick and concrete. It knows I'm going to go that way. Bastard. Oh, sorry. Again, as I said earlier, like, any time it confronts us with the spiral staircase, I'm always like, you know what I'm going to do, you cheeky bad word. It's just... the brick comparable to the clean aesthetic. There's a level of disregard. Perhaps it's at this point is unfinished, which I know is a very, very basic bitch way of looking at this, but if it's unfinished, then what the fuck was the rest of it? Because we saw the rest of it could warp and move and change. Why is this tiled and that isn't? Why is there a little bit of whimsy? A couple of diving boards that are really just there for you to dive. You know, the spiral staircases lead up to do fun things. Those 3 slides are just there to slide. Just to be fun. So why is it the raw brick area feels wholesome and this feels threatening again? Hey friends, remember that time I stayed up late to make a YouTube video about playing pools? And then ended up going fucking hard? Now, I will say the combination shower toilet does feel like a thing that doesn't understand people trying to explain people. No, feel free to call me crazy for that read. Like, if you saw the human experience only through a fucking, you know, pool somewhere in, what do we call them, like community centres? Leisure centre, that's it. A fucking leisure centre in the UK. This feels like how you would try and understand people. Oh, I love this. This is all tar-soaked wood and beams. Swear by the old gods and the new, if we stumble out of this and it's the fucking Stanley Parable, I am biting some people after this. And So what's interesting now, this is the wood we've seen. This isn't the wood we've seen in the sauna. This is different. The walls are harsher. The wood is, I don't know, at least over there it felt tar soaked. You know, the kind of thing you'd have on a dock or like an outdoor area. I'm sure you hear that fucking music same as I do. Again, this comes back to the thing I keep trying to turn over in my own mind. Like, friends, you have to understand that a lot of things I'm saying at you isn't my incredibly smart, hyper-articulate, like, interpretation of the art. It's Will's fucking scared and he's trying to talk his way through it. Does the house want us to walk forward? Or does something worse? Does the house wish us out? Or does the house wish us scared? So right now it could be either. There's no denying from House of Leaves that the house itself had a level of sadism. I guess that runs counter to what I was saying earlier. It's just there are a few times in House of Leaves where you could undoubtedly call its actions sadistic. Disappearing into the darkness. Fuck you. There are a few times where it chooses to do things in a way that could in no way be interpreted as sustenance, that could in no way be interpreted as reactionary. It's just downright mean. And perhaps there is a law of the land. Perhaps that law was broken in a way that we'll never know. Oh man, putting air on that. It's the Loading Ready Run logo. Sorry. But it certainly feels it. And here we are walking ever further in. Finally in the the MC Escher stairs that we spotted from earlier. Ironically, despite their strange construction offering us very little in the way of freedom. Like it's lying to us, giving us the concept of the infinite staircase, and actually giving us a regular staircase. Right, so we came from there, down and then up. There we go. But in this idea that it's not like a strange gravitational pocket dimension. Ah, fuck you. Oh, why did I drink so much before we did this? Oh. Alright, we good? I felt that one in the cheap seats. Whoa. Observed that earlier. I think I made a joke about looking at that guy's ass. To quote Kieran Gillen, I love Medusa, but I wish she'd stop objectifying people. Don't get stuck in a horror movie with me. I'm just going to make terrible jokes. But here's the question I'm going to ask you that's really going to bake your fucking noggin. Since we started, right? Since the very beginning of this game, Which way is up? Like right now. Oh shit, the bed. Like, we just fell several stories for like a little swan dive of our life moment. But again, I ask you, which way is up? Like, assuming that when we stepped into this world, we stepped down from a manhole or a cover or something. Right now, which way is up? Huh. Well, welcome to the back rooms, I guess. Don't fucking die. Now, the thing I've always found interesting about the back rooms in the past is that the back rooms aren't in themselves malicious. They're warping and twisting. It's the things that are caught there. Similar to, at least in my humble opinion, similar to, in my humble opinion, you know, the space between in Stranger Things. Space between? The upside down. Space between is a different thing. But the upside down in Stranger Things is fascinating because, again, it isn't inherently bad. It's just a place. That place happens to have weird fucked up monsters and shit. But, like, that's their ecosystem. That's their space. Oh, fuck right off. No. 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 I'm not dealing with this Doctor Who flavoured bullshit. No. No. Tom would repeatedly sing himself songs. Little ditties, little dumb jokes. He'd taunt the darkness, mock it almost, knowing the futility of it while he's in his little tent with his little light and his little stash. And again, I can't help but empathise with him. sorry I took a couple extra moments out there, but I did just breathe. I made some dumb jokes to myself. And going back to our earlier points, our earlier discussions, this whole bloody thing, right? What hits so hard about this is that you can imagine yourself here. Like, you're all familiar with Glass Shark, right? The McElroy brothers, you know, Glass Shark, he loved a fat kid. He see you flopping around, you dummy little fish. And that's very funny. But this concept that, like, for a brief few seconds when under the water, you don't know. And you won't know. If you dive into a pool, you dive into that deep end, you know you can swim out. But if you emerged and it was something else, what do you do? If you found yourself in this in nothing but your swim trunks, would you progress? Would you find the peaceful staircase and just expire? Like, I can't answer that for you. No more than I can tell you what I'd actually do. You know, here I have two very strong tools at my disposal. I have the concept of you. That is to say, the idea that you will watch this video in the future. Maybe one of you, maybe two of you. But you are essentially a future audience, a future viewer, a spirit that I can commune with through time. And I also have alcohol. But the terrifying thing about this, in the back rooms, the whole concept of House of Leaves, is no matter how prepared you are, you aren't. No matter how much you think you've thought this through, you haven't. And you aren't ready. Everyone. Well, that's my fucking nightmare. Oh, shit, we're fucking sideways. Everyone else in the house is asleep. I am trying to fucking scream. What I was trying to say is that everyone that went into that house, they all thought they had a hand on it, right? They all thought they got it. And none of them ever did. Okay, green checkered equals escape. Can do this. But the idea of, like, no matter what you bring in, you're not prepared. What do you do next? Parkour. This reminds me of that one Beetlejuice Minecraft cartoon. Wait, it said up and down is good, right? Well, I hate that. Ultimately, we're looking for green, right? Not that way. We want up and down to follow. There we go. Not left and right, up and down. That was like a Beetlejuice dubstep roller coaster Minecraft thing 1,000 years ago. I'm thinking of that right now. I know well enough not to believe in hope. apologise, friends. I think I also had a comment about how the concept of the back rooms is so horrifying because it's so understandable. Fucking knew it. Fuck. Double fuck. Quadruple fuck. High speed art fuck. Suburban trap? We can't get in through the door. Fucking hell, friends. I really wish I'd played this live. I really wish I'd played this live. Not because I think it'll be better. I'm sure most of you watching this have already seen this through and are probably cackling with laughter. But like... Okay, this is the point where I can't seem to disengage my brain. Like, mechanically, I understand that errors in texture are usually caused when the dev team is rushing towards the end of development, when they are desperately trying to get the thing finished, the thing looking like this, as quickly as possible because they have an artistic vision, it needs to happen, but I can't seem to get that concept to come forth into what we're doing here because I see the breaks, right? I see the breaks in the texture, and I do not think, oh, well, you know, that was just them rushing at the end. What I think is, whatever built this, built it fast and wrong. For the whimsy of this noise, this strange dome, this was made quickly. And there's no door in, there's no other place to explore. Aside from jumping in and out of that pool, all we can do is continue down this impossible road. There was a, I wouldn't say good, but haunting horror movie with, I believe, Michael Cera, trapped in this infinite suburban home, deprived of flavour, deprived of... Oh, fuck you. That was chapter 5. We have one more chapter. We can't leave this. Is it my house, Duckwad? Or is it your house? I don't know if we were ever supposed to be here, or if perhaps we have stumbled onto a core of something. I'm not entirely sure. At times I felt like we were being guided, and at other times I felt like we were being twisted. friends, we're either walking into the belly of the beast, or we're here to become part of whatever has come prior. See, pools encapsulates both the things of we sat in that chair earlier, fuck. It encapsulates the two things that it's taking inspiration from directly. And sorry, I don't mean to speak for the people who created it. Like, it's not my intent to speak over or for them. It's just the two things that this feels like it draws heavily from is the back rooms and House of Leaves. And both do one thing very well: the surrealism of the norm. The back rooms is like every store if you ever take a single step behind it, right? Every mall, every department store, every retail park. And here we are. A wallpaper that was acquired because it was on sale somewhere, a Blando beige leftover. And with House of Leaves, that concept that you never know if what you're encountering is constructed or living, whether it is benign or threatening. Does it have intelligence? Is it pushing us towards something? Is it merely existing and we are but ants, like walking across a space that we can't comprehend? Right now, all concepts are true. Now, from having encountered the music, the house, the hands, we must accept the possibility that this is not one entity and not one idea. And if it is not one entity and one idea, what does it want from us? What do they want from us? Again, friends, I cannot help but feel like the fucking Navidson report. I cannot help but feel like I am a person who is in over his head, delving ever forward, who could stop at any time, but the physical compulsion, the physical intent, I could stop at any time, and I don't want to. The difference here is that, like, Navidson's was his whole war photography, being the first, being the, I shouldn't say the first, but being able to capture a moment that no one else will ever see. But who am I? A fucking streamer. I'm an ex-games industry streamer. This isn't even an unknown, hidden indie game. So what drives me forward? Well, it's not the bloody bits. You all won't even see this for at least a day, assuming I make it out the pools alive. You all won't even know until I put it up. I don't have any monetization on this on YouTube, right? You could watch this once, you could watch it 1,000,000 times. Changes nothing for me. So if I'm not doing this to break new ground, if I'm not doing this for monetary reasons, why am I doing this? Why am I careening forward? And I'm not asking, I'm not asking with an answer in mind. I don't know. Because there's a third possibility. I walk through this whole thing, I get to the end of this whole thing, and I stop. No one ever sees this. It never goes online. It never gets published. It just sits in a tiny folder in a tiny file somewhere. Hidden. Questionable. The haunting thing of the Navidson report is how it simultaneously exists as both an actionable and researchable piece of medium and yet does not exist at all. the text in House of Leaves simultaneously tells us that the Navidson Report is something that has been talked about by Anne Rice, Stephen King, feckin' incredible artistic creators. But then at the very beginning, we are told, in black and white, no one will acknowledge it exists, or no one knows it exists. So was everything around the Navidson Report a lie? But what if... And that's where it gets you. So what if I never showed this to a person? Alright, at this point that's about kind of a moot, because if you are seeing this, I did not choose to hide it, that's for damn sure. And whatever choices I made, it wasn't to hide it. Say this with violent surety, but we are supposed to be in this place. It's not coming out okay. It is 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm in a sauna the size of an auditorium. We are not coming out of this okay. There's something to be said about how simple iconography at this stage is so powerful. But that might be me trying to rationalize where we are using video game terms. The palette for where it moves us, for what those environments have in and what they say, has stayed hauntingly consistent. And perhaps that's why I keep pressing on. This idea that if I could understand what it was trying to say with the back rooms, if I could understand what it was trying to say with the pools, that I would be able to understand this form of communication as it's put ahead of us. And yes, I am avoiding going through the fucking water if I can. Don't judge me. You know, it's currently showing us more and more things that are human and comforting. Except for the fucking giant bandsaw. That's a terrible idea. I don't want to do that. But I don't know where else. It's alright, we'll just keep our head down. It's fine, don't even worry about it. You know what, I'm just going to stop trying to analyse things. We're doing them, I'm just going to hide. I take it back, I love the analysis, but I'm going to keep going. But you'll understand what I'm saying, right? That, like, if these different spaces were a form of communication, how can we understand them? Because they only seem to be using... Oh, are you kidding me? Beans. I have to go back into the water. Because they seem to be using them either to corral us or to try and make us understand. And if they're trying to make us understand, the question is why? However, for all my rationale, for all my late night 2 a.m. attempts to make this okay, much like the house, there's that additional element. We are sustenance, and our suffering and our turmoil is fucking flavouring. Ah, shit, the bed. I hate being right. There's nothing about this place that serves a purpose. these pillars is just covered with speakers. Okay, once again, I apologise, friends, if you are not getting the full experience in terms of audio, but I'm ready to scream. Grizzy, sounds like there is shit behind my fucking chair. Up is good, down is bad. Up is good, down is bad. Like, at this point, even having said that the rules might be used to destroy us, what else can I believe in? Down is bad until up takes you down. Sir Vanillian Ices, you have to get up to get down. Cool. Catacomb the pillow, love that. Ah. Okay, let's not freak out. Let's engage with the world. Alright? Semi-lawn furniture, lazy boy-esque chairs, the pillows with a vague mausoleum. If we were trying to... If we go with the communication theory, what is it trying to tell us? There's also the theory that it is a reflection of us, and as we unravel, it too tries to grab things and float them back to us. There are objects, and those objects have uses, and that is more than the house ever did for anyone. Back down there. I mean, we're following the light. It's taking us to some light places. But have you noticed that there are certain places we go to where the light brings us comfort, and there are certain places we go to where it absolutely fucking doesn't? Wait, was that the way we came? Coming out of this place? Bastards. Is it twisting us? Were we always fucking trapped? Let's hang out with the big star. See, if you assholes think I'm getting in that dark water, you also have not seen my brother and I. That deep water, that dark water. Jump on in, you dubby little fish. Flippy floppy. Apparently one of the brothers hates that entire skit. Fuck you, game. Sorry, I should explain my thinking. That panel is not a vent. That panel is not an opening. That panel implies the idea that all of this is constructed and that right there is something that fucked up. And as soon as you add it, okay. Let's look at the picture. What's wrong? What's missing? There's a splotch by the door ahead of us. We can't really see that, but okay. Pillar number. Pillar number is correct. And there's the nightmare hole. The mannequin head is serving the function as a paintbrush holder right now. And regardless of what that actually means, the situation by which that paintbrush holder is created, not a single understanding that we have of that situation is good. It's all fucking bad. It's all bad. Think about what we know. We know that certain areas react to us as we move through, which means that it's not devoid of life. We're not walking through the husk of some, like, fifth dimensional alien. We know that it is built predominantly out of human ideas, but not human ideas in a functioning way. Hate that. But human ideas, if they were copied by something that doesn't understand people. There are other things beyond us in this space. And the mannequins emulate, but emulate with purpose. Hey, remember the beginning of this video? Do you remember that? Like, it's been 2.5 hours if you want to cast your mind back. And I said, I believe I was quoting Neil Gaiman, and I said, make good art. When life gets on top of you, make good art. I've had a terrible day, and I said, make good art. I do not think that I have done that, but I can certainly say I have walked through good art. Should I have done this on a feckin' Monday night? It's 2 o'clock in the morning now, by the way. No! Fuckers looped me back. I don't want to go near the pillars because the pillars make noise. No, we know this! But you didn't think you get to see a person unravel on a standalone VOD. It's not even a VOD! It's a video! It's a video record of me going through this! If the pools are alive, they want us somewhere. And how we do it and how we get there doesn't matter to them. They honestly don't care. Fuck you. I should have known. I should have known. Wait, hang on. We came through here. Yeah, this leads us into the red area. Which then itself begs the question, where does it want us to go? Is it just exuding power over us? If there's a malevolence to this place, is it just toying with us? It knows we've walked through these watery fucking holes. We commented on these bloody pillars. We talked about the bloody architecture. The door's still open. The door's still open. No, fine. Fine. There are many things that you can exude from me. The one thing you have not counted for is how fucking stubborn I am. I will out-stubborn you. You may live to see the heat death of the universe, and you will find me an irritable pebble in your psychological shoe. I might have crazy eyes, and I'm sorry for that. I'm gonna highlight a video game moment now, so that I don't go off the fucking deep end. But again, see these drips? These are the drips from when we first came to this area. From here, literally here. I wonder, I hope to never find out, but I wonder how my psyche would handle encountering forces beyond my comprehension. Because if this evening has taught us anything, is that one, I would attempt to start to rationalize. I would then attempt to interpret. And after both of those had failed, I would either joke or stubborn my way through it all. Oh. Hang on. No, the pillow's different. Oh. Okay. I apologise, friends. I thought that would stop me is the wrong word. But I guess we're going down. Ha! We're not going down. You get the sadism of this, right? And I'm not levelling that critique at the people that make this game, obviously, and I hope you understand that. But more the point of it has made us look fear in its stupid, dumb, fiery face. And then it has made us throw ourselves into things that we have been told by nature, by our teeny tiny little lizard brains, even by fucking gaming, that we should never do. It has browbeaten us into admitting that we don't know where we should go, that we should walk down that dark staircase with no light, that we should step into that obvious trap in that obvious tunnel, and then denied us, because it knows. It knows it doesn't have to ask us. It merely traps us and makes us admit that we don't know what we're doing. It knows. It's going to make me walk up to a wall as if somehow that's going to change everything. It changes nothing. See, in House of Leaves, the house was always... I don't know. Even at its most charitable reading, the house was decay. Decay of laughter, decay of intent, decay of forward, decay of people. But the house was never your friend. It never wanted you to succeed. It never was trying to say or show you anything. Now, you could argue its intent in a whole bunch of different... Ah, you fucking bastards. I know where we are. There's the star. Maybe we go up this way. Sorry, you fucking bastards is diving back into the water. Unknown maze for unknown reasons. I don't think we're going to be as lucky as just being able to walk out this way, but who knows? Nope. Maybe we found it. Sorry, the bastard was I thought it was going to make us jump into the deep dark water. I think it wishes to toy with us some more. But again, it is worth saying I physically cannot consider this to be... The developers of the video game are toying with us. Every step we've taken on this journey has made me think, no, the place, the pools, that is where we are. That is with whomst we are being fucked. It knows. Because ultimately, video games are progression. Right? If there's one thing that video games have in every single one of them, it is progression. And I don't mean like numbers go up. I don't mean your ret pally now does 3% more damage with its bastard strike or what have you. I mean that you start and you move forward. Experientially, narratively, what have you. You're always moving forward. And this is being weaponized against us. Like, even the blandest of walking simulators. And hey, I love walking simulators, you know that. But even the blandest amongst them makes one demand of you. Parkour! And there we go. And that one demand is you progress forward. God damn it, I recognize that. Let me guess. Yup. When you know there's only one way to progress. And here's the thing. Bastards. This game is confident enough to make us walk out into the deep, dark water by ourselves. This is a literal fucking nightmare. But when you think about it, look how clever this is. There's no quest marker. There's no, hey, Mega Man, Mega Man. There's no, you have to go out here. It's making us do this. Being fucking toyed with. And nothing happened. Hey Will, why do you drink so much on a Monday night? What does this fucking word? I swear, we get through this game, I'm just going to become one of those like exclusive hentai streamers. Yeah, that's it. I'm only streaming hentai games from now on. No narrative, no plot, no thought, just thought. Like, well, how come you just stream hotties all day? streamed clever stuff, and I saw into a literal haunted maze from which there is no escape. Whose fucking sheep is this? What's up, buddy? Oh, you are alive. Okay, hi. So, hey, sheepy. My name's Will Overgod. Do you have a name? Oh shit! What's the thing from Babe? Oh, fuck. Bar ram you. Your fleece, your mane, your herd be true? Bar ram you. Okay, so it turns out I don't actually remember Babe as well as I thought I did. The sheep is not talking to me. I want to highlight just one more time what this game has driven me to do. Alone. Again, if you're watching this, you are literally watching a found footage video. I just want to point that out. Huh. Oh god. I think those are the mannequins. But you get what that implies, right? That all the mannequins that we've encountered are processed and not just... Okay, I am very glad I can drink more after this. Oh boy. Oh fuck. Oh. This time I thought I had to backtrack. Ah, you sheep bastard. Okay, so there's the chair. There's the sheep. Spoiler sheep, you're not helping. Back into the maze. Why does this wall look weird? Huh. Hey friends, it's Monday night. You've been drinking. Would you like a video game that makes you answer the question, what would you fucking do if you got trapped in House of Leaves? But it was slightly more whimsical and slightly more sadistic. Yes, oh boy, have I got a video game for you? Because like this whole thing and its entire implication of like the construction of these poor fucksticks. These poor marble creatures. That oh fuck you. Hey, so which side are we on? If one of you all could blast out the Black Sails theme, that would be great right now. Even the people playing are themselves pawns in this. You get that, right? I'm sure if one of you... sorry, my apologies. My streamer vernacular keeps, like, bleeding over. I'm sure that if I understood chess theory better, I'd be able to tell you, like, maybe there's some chess theory in that. So, like, chess moves all have strategy behind them, and a whole bunch of them have meaning behind them. So, in theory, certain chess moves have essentially like artistic or poetic intent. If you go back and watch the original X-Men movies, all the chess matches between Xavier and Magneto all have like hidden meaning. Xavier doesn't win because he's unwilling to sacrifice his pieces. Magneto is overly aggressive, but that puts him at a disadvantage. If both would meet each other, then one would certainly win. Or at least that's how it was explained to me. Feel free to tell me that I'm wrong down at the doobly doo. That's what critiquing Will's understanding of chess is for. I am going to get another drink though. Yeah, that's right. This is a YouTube video where the person is taking breaks to refill their cup. What I should have done is got one of those little pourry cups, but I didn't think that 3 hours in we'd still be going. We're probably on the last gasp anyway. So I'm going to say this before we continue. I hope not a single one of you ever has to understand what you would actually do given this kind of nightmare scenario, right? Like, I hope that goes without saying. I hope that never fucking happens to me. In the same breath. I hope that if it happens, it would have the same combination of ridiculousness, brevity. I don't know. Perhaps trying to like weaponize my academic style of nonsense. Who knows, right? And again, I hope we never find out. Okay, now this is what I'm equipped for. So, there's a lot of art here. There's no pattern to it. Maybe it's random, but I don't think that's the case. Okay, so here... Okay, I'll probably talk to Ems or someone about this, because this might just be good art, but it strikes me as classic art. And I want to say that's the French flag being dashed upon the rocks, which I believe was it Trafalgar? No. Basically, in the past, when Britain has been assaulted during the Age of Sail, the British Strait and its terrible, terrible waters have run ruin to many a ship. Now, that's one of the places we've seen earlier, but with the duck. That seems classic, but who knows? But here we have like a kid's drawing, like a, ship of the line. Sun's out, they're having a good time. We look here, like a little cop, little robber. Gorgeous day out in the countryside. God, I want to apologise now because you're probably going to be screaming at the screen like, oh, Will, that's this particular classic piece of art. It means X. And it's a great reminder that my classical art literacy sucks. That's somebody's kitty! Now, that I understand. I know cats. And if there is one kind of cat that would stumble into a Euclidean nightmare maze without knowing it and walk right the fuck out again, it is an orange cat, specifically walking to the sauna and then leaving. Okay. Surprise duck. Yes. 2 Garfields. Big chair, what up? Lovely sunset. A reflectant of one of the chairs with the ducks being sinister. Can we climb up that? Didn't think so. I don't like how that's drawing in, but duck underwater. And that just says nothing. Child's drawing of a creature made from the very pool's maze themselves. Love and hate that. Hate this. It appears to be one of the statues, but twisted backwards. Fuck you, game. Fuck you, balls. Huh. And this one is either... Oh, fuck. Giving or a taking. You heard that noise, right? Whatever's happening, friends, we're facing this together. If this be my last report, let it be known that I went out singing the soup song from the Mighty Boo. No, it's a train! And the train is a bed. Oh, fuck, what's in this? I thought I just got some sake tonight, but apparently I'm drinking some fucking... I can't finish that sentence. Okay, there's the thing we saw earlier. From the statues, but why? No, that's meat. Fuck. Hey, remember like 2 hours ago when I was making like really interesting points about like House of Leaves and how it makes us feel like we're in a haunted house and how it uses the familial to twist it and drag us out? Remember that time? I'd love to go back to that. I'd love to be an analyst. I don't want to be in House of Leaves. I want to talk about House of Leaves. This fucking game gets that. There are so many games, predominantly horror, but also like action horror, survival horror, etc., that put the fire under us. And they do it through monsters, they do it through threats, you know, Nemesis, the Xenomorph, even just like the nondescript zombies from 7 Days to Die. But this merely says you have to. It robs you of your power and your agency in a way that is impressive. You can spin your wheels eternally in this infinite looping space that you neither understand nor control, or you can press forward. No monster leaps out, there's no ooga booga. I mean, fuck it, there might be, we haven't finished yet, but you understand my point. This isn't, you know, my friendly neighbour, this isn't Bendy and the Ink Machine. There isn't a creature to progress you. If you wish to leave, you must simply take another step forward. We've Gone Home is a story about discovery. Discovering the truth of your family, discovering what happened, discovering what comes after This is a story at the behest of something else, and you know it is not going to pass us this ladder so carelessly. Is there a sadistic twist? Are we still there? Will it cut the ladder out from under us? Will this lead into the very thing that built those mannequins we've seen time and time again? We have no choice but to press on. Hate that. Oh, you fucking bastards! I nearly loudly pissed myself, and it's nearly 3 o'clock in the morning! All we can do is press forward at this point. And this is what I was saying earlier, is like, I feel I'm at a stage, like I said, I can no longer disengage from the art. Meaning that, I mean, I can get up, I can stop, I can go get another beverage, I can go talk to the guinea pigs. But I can no more leave this undone than I can leave my shoes on while I go to sleep. I can do it, but it's fucking uncomfortable. Because of that momentum, because of the way that it corrals us and moves us forward. We are not in control. And video games, so many of them, more than not, pride themselves on empowerment, the control of the user, the control of the player. I'm sorry, friends, I'm nervous talking. I've said the same thing multiple times. I'm looping myself on explanation. The audio. Oh, fuck you guys. The duck. Okay, so oh, the ways are very closed, so we are gonna go this way. They're done pretending. Whatever happens to us now, they're done pretending. In House of Leaves, the house was almost waiting to consume. Sometimes the most effective way, sometimes the most delicious way. This, it was almost like we needed to walk this path. And whether those mannequins are creatures of their own intent, or whether they are just tools of this maze, honestly doesn't matter at this stage. Because right now, see? They're done pretending. Maybe they're with it. Come on, you can get out of here.